Welcome back. I'm Cara Silletto from Crescendo Strategies. I'm here with our partner, Molly Ricketts from Incipio Workforce Solutions. If you're not familiar with us, we both focus on recruiting and retaining the staff that we can't afford to lose. And we've been getting a ton of questions about HR issues, company culture, recruiting and layoffs, and all of those types of things. So this round of questions, I wanted to get Molly's thoughts particularly on those who are considering layoffs. I mean, we're in a difficult spot, Molly, and that tends to be that knee-jerk reaction when the revenue drops off dramatically. So what advice are you giving to your clients, and what advice would you give all business leaders out there who are in a tough spot and even considering or are very near doing some layoffs?
Well, one of the things that we've been doing, Cara, is really talking to the decision makers and saying, what are things that you've put off because you've been so busy? So maybe it's looking at the line and shaving off a couple of minutes in production that you've wanted to focus on, but you haven't had that time. So understanding that, yes, you need to cut costs because revenue is down, but let's think about this as an opportunity for realigning focus so that when we rebound in 4 to 6 weeks, then we're back on track, and those revenue dollars, it's going to be more of a skyrocket than a stair step. So what can we work on now? What are some projects that we've put on the back burner? Secondly, how can I pivot my business? You know, maybe you're not in manufacturing and it's this product, this line, this motion every day. Okay, you can't do anything around that. But what if it's something like a local restaurant that we were talking about earlier that has had to make changes because they've never done delivery and they've never done curbside. So what are some things that they're doing so they don't lose those loyal employees? Because this is just a speed bump. It's not a recession. Right. It's not a time of layoffs for months at a time. This is just a blip. So how can we make this blip as painless as possible and pivot our business to service the needs of others that we have? So really thinking before you make that step to lay those people off, because it's such a scary word, right? Because just what feels like a couple of years ago, it was a huge layoff and everybody was out of work. And it was just such a sad, sad time. And many people are scared that we're back there, which isn't the case at all. It's just a blip. So how can we keep those loyal employees? And like I say, maybe it's not 40 hours, maybe it's taking them down to 25 or 30, but you're still committed to them. Right now, Cara, I think you can agree with me that the loyalty that an employee feels from their employer right now is above any other level of commitment, engagement, retention. You're going to see a different level of commitment from individuals when you take care of them right now because everyone is in uncharted waters. But when you take that time to pause and not do that knee-jerk reaction of, well, we got to get rid of everybody because we don't have any revenue. Well, let's think about it. Yeah. How can we be prepared for 4 weeks, 6 weeks from now? Think past today.
Right. Yeah, we've gotten some great advice from other small business leaders, and the best piece of advice I got was to have your monthly metrics and milestones of where you need to be when, and then know what levers you can pull at each milestone if you're not where you need to be. So it doesn't have to be an all at once type of thing, but instead by, May 1st, if we're in this situation, here's what we're going to pull. Here's what we're going to do about it. Then June 1st, here's what options I have. So sit down with your leadership team, your board, your spouse, whoever it is that can help you think of those levers. Make a list of all the things you can cut, even things like putting certain benefits on pause. We will certainly, before we would let anybody go, we would offer an optional hours cut. Can anybody take an optional hours cut before I have to cut anybody's job or anybody's pay per hour? We would put that out. Now, I hope we don't have to get to that, but if things extend, that is a lever I can pull. is offering that first and then having to do mandatory hour cuts or job cuts and things like that. So what can you pull? Any extra expenses? Of course, I expect leaders to take the first hit. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think that the owner, the business leader, should take the first pay cut as one of those levers and then, protect their people as best they can. Of course, I know you probably have a mortgage and your own bills to pay and things like that. But as she said, the loyalty that you show right now, the leadership that you show your people right now is going to be so long lasting. And I do worry about some companies that take a knee-jerk reaction to immediate layoffs when we hit hard times. And then what happens is they don't realize the long-term implications on that layoff, that now in your community and the people who used to work for you, they're always going to remember the layoff of 2020 and remember how that company didn't have a cushion. They didn't have, they didn't take care of us. They didn't care about us. They just threw us out on the streets, right? That's not what's happening, but that could be somebody's perception of what happened. And so you don't want that to impact your employer brand on the streets. You don't want that to be how people know you and think about you 10 years later. I mean, I still remember the companies during the recession 10 years ago that kept their people no matter what. I mean, they did what you said. They rerouted. People were cleaning that would have been on a manufacturing line. They're doing deep clean projects and things just to keep their job. But you know what has happened in the last 10 years? Everybody wants to go work at that company. Everybody who cares about stability, safety, security, they all want to get their foot in the door at that company because they know even when times get tough, that company takes care of their people. They have the cushion. They're prepared for it. So just understand that we have to balance the short-term needs with the long term. And please look to the resources like the SBA loans. Look to these resources that are going to be available from the stimulus and other things like that. Look for some resources first before you just jump into the layoff bucket as your solution. So awesome. Any final thoughts on that one, Molly?
Just make sure that you're talking to your other fellow business leaders and business owners and decision makers, because there's maybe an opportunity that you do end up having to lay some folks off, but you know what? You can tell them it's just for right now. I need you back in 4 to 6 weeks, but this is my fellow business partner and they need you. So you're not even going to miss a paycheck. You go right over to this company. They need help here and they need you for this time only. So know that then you've also got that loyalty that you're taking care of them, that you're worried enough about their well-being that they can go to the next thing and not have to even think about taking care of it. It's done.
Sorry, I was muted there for a second. Absolutely, Molly. Great advice. Great advice. So thank you all so much for listening in again, and send your questions in. We'll continue answering these questions as long as we're in this chaos. But guess what? We're in this together. We are here for you. So do not give up. Lean on your fellow business owners and your friends and your family, and look for those resources that are out there. Hang in there. We'll talk again soon. Thanks so much, Molly.
Bye.